And now I think we can all agree that being a people pleaser is a characteristic fault that can keep us stuck in toxic relationships with narcissistically abusive people. But I believe it's important that we understand the root of people pleasing. And it has everything to do with feeling like we have to manage other people's emotions. My name is Kevin, and this is The Royal We. Now, I myself am guilty of having been a people pleaser. I was that do-gooder guy, trying to make sure everybody felt good and everybody around me was good. It was the whole Christianese concept of just love everybody, no matter what they're doing, no matter where they're at in life. You just make sure, Kevin, that you are doing your best to make them feel good. And boy, did I believe I had the power and the authority to put a smile on anybody's face, no matter what they were doing. How many of you agree that this is problematic? This is deeply rooted in this idea of people pleasing. Not only that, but managing people's emotions. And as I've healed from toxic relationships and I've healed from the narcissistic abuse in my own life, I've had to come to terms with the reality that people pleasing is deeply rooted in a need to manage other people's emotions, not only to feel good about oneself, but also to feel safe around other people. I want to share with you a personal story of what people-pleasing can look like. And this was me about 5 or 6 years ago. I was at a party with siblings, a very toxic, dysfunctional situation that I had no business being in. It was well beyond the toxic, dysfunctional stage where I was already being gaslit and I was already scapegoated. And even though I was the one trying to bring love into this chaoticness, and it wasn't working. Nothing I was doing was working, but yet I kept going. I kept trying to be the people pleaser. I kept trying to manage other people's emotions. And at this one particular party, I was sitting with this group of people that I probably had no business being with. And they were having a little fun amongst themselves. They were having a little food fight with crackers, picking up crackers and throwing them at each other. And I decided to pick one up and I threw it over at one of the siblings and it hit her in the hair, just in the hair, not a big deal, right? Well, it was to her. She blew up in a narcissistic fit of rage, spilling drinks all over me. It was just an onslaught of how dare you, Kevin. Never mind that we're all throwing crackers and I've got crackers on me from them, but you, how dare you? She threw drinks on me, spilt all over the place. I was moved back in just shock. I was humiliated. I was embarrassed. And I was wet with alcohol. And my first thoughts in my embarrassment were, man, I must have really messed up. And so what I did, and nobody came around to say, hey, don't worry about it. That was a little bit abrupt. That didn't deserve that. Nobody said that. You know, they all know that person, right? And in a toxic setting, they typically know how people erupt and they're okay with it. It's the enablers, all right? But there I was, kind of embarrassed and humiliated. And anyways, I wanted to make it right. That was my first thought. How do I make this right? And so I put whipped cream on my hand. And I smashed it on my face and on my head. And I went after her. And I made up a story. Look at what they did. They got whipped cream on my face. Ha, ha, ha. Trying to put a smile on her face. I acted like the clown to try to bring a smile to a hot-tempered person who doesn't know how to manage their own emotions. So I felt like I needed to step in and manage her emotions for her. And this is what we do in toxic relationships. We're with people who can't manage their own emotions. So we manage their emotions. And as I've stood back and I've healed from all of these situations, which I realize now were attacks, it was their ill managed emotions that they lash out at people with and attack others with, that we feel we have to manage. And as I've healed from that, I've had to come to terms with understanding that this is something that has been seeded inside of me since I was a child. Now, how many of you were raised in environments where you were told, don't do this. You'll make your father upset. Don't make your dad upset. Don't make your mom upset. Don't, just stay out of his way. Just don't do this. Just don't talk to him. Just don't ask him any questions. Don't ask stupid questions. You're going to make him up. Am I resonating with somebody? These are the seeds in our youth that lead us to believe that we are the ones that are responsible for the emotions of other people, especially when we are raised around toxic, narcissistic, bully-type personalities who can't control their tempers, who have outbursts of rage uncontrollably. We feel, being born into these situations or being raised in these environments, we feel like it is our duty and somehow our responsibility, and we carry the burden of making sure that they're okay. And so, in a lot of cases, not only do we do this to make sure that they're okay, but many of us have to do this in order to feel safe. If we don't make sure they're okay, then we can put ourselves in danger. Danger of being yelled at, danger of being cussed at, danger of having things thrown at us. Case in point, like that sibling threw the drinks all over me. It was her emotional rage, her narcissistic fit of rage that caused her uncontrollable outburst throwing the drinks. It had nothing to do with the cracker that I got in her hair. It was her inability to control her own anger. Yet I felt responsible. I felt like I was the one that needed to be able to manage her emotions and bring her and soothe her like a piper soothing some giant beast. And it's not my responsibility. And it was never your responsibility. And what we do in these situations is we rob ourselves from managing our own emotions. In fact, we refuse to allow ourselves to have emotions. How can we have emotions ourselves if we're too busy managing other people's emotions? And so this is the biggest problem with people pleasing and with trying to manage other people's emotions, is that you neglect yourself. You neglect your own emotions. You stuff, you hide, you stuff everything down. You don't say what you're really feeling. You don't say what you're really thinking. And thus you're not able to even be an authentic person. This is the danger of being a people pleaser. This is the danger of trying to manage other people's emotions. And so what do we do? What do we do? We need to first be okay with other people being hurt and angry and narcissistic, and we need to distance ourselves from their inability to manage their own emotions. We need to admit to ourselves, and even to them if we have to, that you're hot-headed, you're mean, arrogant, ill-tempered, and I'm not going to be responsible for that, and then distance ourselves. Get out of there. This is what no contact is all about. And then when you're no contact, then you need to start to understand where you were given the seed of feeling like you have to manage other people's emotions in order to feel safe and in order to feel good about yourself. That needs to end. No more of that. From now on, you and I, we need to focus on managing our own emotions. And this looks like being more authentic to ourselves. If we don't want to be around certain people, then we don't need to be there. If we don't want to listen to a toxic person, we don't need to listen to them. If this means we stay away for a holiday, we stay away for a holiday. If this means we say no to their Thanksgiving invitation, we say no. This means we skip out Christmas Eve, we skip out. We need to stop doing things in order to manage other people's emotions and instead work on healing in our own lives. How many of you can resonate with this so far? This is a big one. We need to stop doing things in order to feel safe and feel good because we're helping others manage their emotions. Our life is not to be spent managing other people's emotions. You have too important of a purpose, and you're not going to reach your purpose. You're not even going to know who you are if you are hiding and stuffing your authenticity in order to manage other people's emotions because you feel it makes you safe when it really doesn't. All it does is it keeps you trapped. Listen, I want to be a part of your healing journey. Down below in the description box, you can find one-on-one coaching options. You can call me. We could have a FaceTime appointment, or you could even have an email appointment. Right now, starting now, through the end of December, I'm going to be doing a special on sponsored video consultations. So for a very small price, you send me your story and I will talk about it in a video format. It's you sponsoring a video, and I would not, you will not find this this price anywhere else. It's going to be real small, but I want to be here for you and answer your questions and share your stories throughout the month of December. So you can find that down below in the link. And also, every Monday is Royal We Life Chat. You can find the link to that down below. Saturday mornings is Royal We Fellowship, an in-depth Bible study and exploration pertaining to this world of narcissistic abuse and toxicity. So you'll find the links to these channels down below. Get involved. And I'll be back with more videos for you right here